You know, as I noted that these folks, they at their own expense, they came, and at their own expense, they paid their way. At their own expense, they stayed and stuck with it. I read on one occasion that some of them lost their farms or lost some of their wealth, but they stuck to the task because they were committed and they loved this country. They weren't professional politicians. When I heard about senators having a $10 million a year office budget and House of Representative folks having a $3 million a year office budget, $174,000 a year salary plus, and all the other perks that go along with supposedly running the government. I said, I think it might be a good idea if sometime we would look for some volunteers and quit looking for political pimps. Yes. It's also interesting to note that, listen, when they decided that we had to do a little more than just correct a document that we've already had, history tells us that these great folks came together and, listen, there was debates and there was fightings, there was struggles, there was individuals that for a moment became estranged and they felt like, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to create anything better than what we've got because we've run into a few roadblocks. But the historians tell us that somehow, some way, things got done. Some individuals were bold enough to say on many occasions by divine intervention that when the convention looked like it was about to collapse, something miraculously happened and individuals were able to come together and they were able to put their differences aside and work toward making this nation the greatest nation in the history of the world. Out of that deliberation, out of that contentious moments, after going through so many different twists and turns, they came up with something called a constitution. One writer said in one book, when you talk about a constitution, you're talking about something which means a bunch of principles or a group of principles that individuals select for self-governance. This is a group or a set of rules and regulations that they agree that they're willing to live by and they want to live by. They decide that this is what they want their world and their nation to be like. I believe that the Constitution was and is a sublime instrument. It's a great document. It has stood the test of time, but as it was then, it is this right now, tonight. Some of the individuals said, wait a minute, it's a great document, but we need to do more with it. They knew how frail man was, and so listen, we don't quite trust it to be all that it should be, and we got what is called the Bill of Rights. And individuals decided that we're going to try to protect individuals from the government. God knows if we ever needed protection from the government, we sure do need it now. In the deliberation and in some of the conclusions and some of the comments in reference to the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson is recorded as saying the cornerstone of this document or these documents that we have created, the cornerstone of these documents, forgive me, the cornerstone of these documents that we have created has got to be something that will remind people and remind us that, listen, the power belongs to the people, not to the central government. We've got to have something. As great as this Constitution sounds and as well as it might appear, we need to be always cautious to the innate propensity of men sometime to go astray from right principles and doing the right thing. So we have this great thing, then we got the Bill of Rights, and the Bill of Rights most certainly, the design was to protect individuals' individual rights. But now today we stand, after they've given us this great document and provided with us what we thought was an instrument that would ever protect us as Americans, we are now in the midst of a terrible hour because we've run across folks who are victims of our contemporary education system and they can't read too well. And so, no, so and the lack of their reading skills. And I'm very biased on this, but I think Benjamin Rush had it right when he said, if you take God out of our educational system, you do great folly to America. I think that the day we stopped having a Bible in the classroom and prayer at the start has created a terrible situation in our great nation. But I thank God that there were those who were wise enough and had the type of foresight that they could look down the corridors of time and see that we need to do something to preserve the nation. But you know, as I close, these individuals understood that from the beginning we had to contend. We had to contend, we had to fight, we had to engage, we had to put up a struggle that we might maintain and retain this great thing and this great experiment called a republic. I believe as never before that America has to have individuals like Tea Party, like folks who love God, that are not afraid of the Bible. The Bible is a great book. I heard somebody say in another great book I read, the book that made America is the Bible. No matter how much the ACLU lies, the book that made America is the Bible. So since some individuals have forgotten and some individuals have decided that they don't want to do it the American way, just as it was back there in the 1700s when individuals decided that we must go and contend. And I remind you that the word contend means to engage, to debate, and sometimes to fight. We have to have that same attitude in 2010 because we have some individuals who have forgotten that we're supposed to run things. So even though the masses of America said no abomination care, we have abomination care. There are individuals that saying even though we don't want cap and trade, they want to cap us with cap and trade. We've got individuals that have forgotten that this is a nation that values life from the cradle to the grave. We value the idea of the concept of marriage between a man and a woman. Oh yes, we still, there are some of us that still believe that there's something nice about saying something nice about America. So as I take my seat, let me remind you that contending is not over, and we have to take the advice of the Apostle Paul, who said, fight the good fight of faith. When you don't feel like fighting, fight. When you don't feel like standing up, stand up. When you don't feel like coming, come anyhow. Keep on walking, keep on marching, keep on fighting, and contend till we get America back. God bless you.
On behalf of MEDEFCO, Metro Detroit Freedom Coalition, you are going to receive the first Metro Detroit American Patriot Award.
Thank you so very much. It's beautiful. Thank you. God bless you.